I can hear the roar of women's silence. These were the words of Tomas Sankara. And actually, even now, if we have the idea that women speak all the time and chit-chat, in the reality, men speak and women listen. And this goes way back. In the Odyssey, Telemach is actually telling his mom, Penelope, that public speaking is a male business. We have in the Bible different words saying that in churches, women have to remain silent. It's not appropriate for them to speak. If they have a question, they can ask their husband. And all these indoctrination makes that now women speak less. We are in a culture that is still embedded in this idea of shushing women. And that comes from a young age. We say that parents and teachers tend to interrupt little girls twice as much as they interrupt little boys. On TV, for example, the experts that are interviewed are only 20% women. And in international conferences, we only have a ratio of 35% of women speakers. So there's a huge gap to be filled, because there are different ways that women are silenced all along their lives. When they're kids, little girls actually want to talk and want to participate in schools and raise their hands. But the more they grow, the more they reach puberty, the more they are conscious, the more they realize it's not as likable for a girl to speak, so they're more shy, they use more shrinking language, they apologize more. And by high school or college, you can actually see in a class that girls intervene much less than boys. And this has an impact on their grades, this has an impact on their visibility, this has an impact on their career aspirations. So this goes way beyond only speaking. There are different ways that we use of shushing women. Again, it can be not believing when a woman speaks. It can be just trying to interrupt her, what we call man-interrupting, or say, yeah, wait, I'm gonna explain to you the reality, which is also called mansplaining. I've got so many people coming to me after speeches or classes at the break and trying to tell me, you need to understand that, explaining things to me. There's this very famous essay from Rebecca Solnit called actually Men Explain Things to Me. So it's a very common thing because men are socialized to think that they know more. So they're more legitimate to speak in public. And in a diverse group, of decision-making group, different studies show that 75% of the talking is actually done by men. So being at the table does not always mean having a voice. And this has tremendous impact because we can still see in conferences that there are a lot of all-male panels. When conference organizers say, oh, but I couldn't find a woman. Actually, there was a scientist trying to find the odds of having a randomly all-male panels, and it says that the odds are astronomical. So there is a kind of bias in the way we also organize conferences and find speakers. And this has consequences on women's professional life, because if they're not visible, if they're not speaking in different conferences, they might not get contracts, they might not get a new job, they might not get new networking opportunities. They're less visible again, because they learned to speak less and not self-promote. So how can we change this? Well, there are different ways and different roles again. If you're a speaker and if you're asked to speak at a conference, check the diversity of the speakers. And if you're not okay with that, say it to the organizers. Say no to all male panels. Be vocal about it. There are different initiatives around the world, in Australia, in Norway, in Germany, trying to limit this possibility. As an attendee, use your social media. If you see an all-male panel, or if you go to a conference where the diversity is not well enough represented, say it on social media. Organizers are always sensitive to this kind of reputation, and sponsors want to have good press. So this is a way of having a pressure on people who are actually organizing. As a conference organizer, go the extra mile. I know, for having organized so many conferences myself, that you need to convince women of speaking, because sometimes they don't think they're legitimate or they just don't have the time. So push them to find them. And if you don't find them, ask around, ask vocally about it. Try to find a speakers agency specialized in women speakers, and you will find them. And also monitor. Have some data about who speaks at your conferences so that you can monitor your progression. And as citizens, as men and women, I would say to our men, try to listen more. Try to be more aware of your privilege. Try to, in the next dinner, family dinner, in the next meeting at work, try to see how it goes if you actually speak a little less and give more space to others to express themselves. And to women, speak up. Speak up. Ask to speak at conferences. Even if you don't feel legitimate right now, you will make it. I encourage your daughters to speak. Don't shush them. Don't interrupt them. Because, as Malala says, it's actually only when we have lost the voice that we realize the power of it. Good luck.